cameras both inside and out. As we were going to our cars is when we saw police were on the scene actively draw their weapons as well as other people drop to the ground.
Inspire us all today, never ever, never to submit.
So, Zahid?
We moved out of the scene and there was a suspect who was on the ground by the car. Police had him down, and as we moved to a lot maybe 50 feet away, police continued to expand the perimeter. Two of my friends heard reports that they were still searching for somebody else. I had moved towards the nearby Walmart parking lot where we were moved because of suspicion that there was a car bomb in the area.
Again, we're looking at the scene live now, Sky 4 over the Caldwell Center, the Curtis Caldwell Center, which is owned by the Garland ISD.
And to the woman who is joining us now on the phone, can you tell me exactly where you are now in relation to all of this?
Now we're across the street from the Walmart on the other side of the George Bush Highway at the intersection of President George Bush and North Garland Avenue.
And I heard you say earlier you saw people actually drop to hit the floor.
We saw people hit the floor. I was getting in my car and I looked in my rearview mirror, and a person behind me who was an attendee at the event dropped to the grass. I think he was just avoiding anything, not actually shot.
Okay, and police there, are you seeing any sort of exchange at this point?
There's still just police blocking off the intersection. They've moved out of the road and buses have moved into it that were used to bring people out of the Curtis Caldwell Center itself. Mm-hmm. But as far as changing the perimeter, nothing has happened. There's been no movement.
And again, we're talking with a young lady live at the scene who was leaving the event about the time the shooting happened. Did you see at any point the gunfire?
We didn't see the gunfire. It was on the back end of the building. We were coming out of the front, moving towards the side. We saw officers actually whistle and start to point, but that was the biggest indicator that we had before the guns were drawn that there was something going on.
Did you have any hesitation about attending this event? Were you at any point nervous that obviously there was very heightened security, but could you have imagined that something like this could have unfolded?
I wasn't nervous. I'm very familiar with Pamela Geller's work and the types of things that sometimes happen at events like this, or I'm familiar with what happened in France with Charlie Hebdo. I was confident in the security forces that were there. I had looked into what was going to happen tonight, and Pamela Geller, with her extensive work doing this kind of thing, is aware of the backlash that occurs sometimes. I wish I could say I was more surprised that something like this happened. I was expecting protests at the most.
And what was were you there earlier? Did you see the protests?
I was here around 4.
Okay.
We went in, there was no protest, there was nothing happening outside. We had actually made a joke about the high police presence and that they were getting overtime for a very easy day before this had happened.
Okay, so it doesn't sound like the protests, though, were, just sort of, I guess they were your normal protests. It wasn't anything that necessarily got your attention or would have led you to believe or given you second thoughts about attending the event.
Not at all. The most I saw were some comments on the Facebook page and no actual presence of people outside of the event. Police had it perimetered very tightly right up to the edge of the parking lot beforehand, though.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for your input on that. Zahid, is Zahid right there still with you?
Is who?
Actually, never mind on that. I'm going to go ahead and just thank you for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and just let people know about our reporter Zahid, who we've been talking to all evening. He's been out at the scene.